Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing what came out today, which was the 12-team playoff as official format. It was a unanimous decision on them to decide for it to be a 5+7 format. You probably already know what that is, but if you don't, I'll let you know. You have the top five conference champions. They get an automatic bid. They get an automatic 5 spots into the playoff, and then the rest of the field gets to fill up the next 7. That I'm interested to see how that's going to play out, and we're going to kind of go over what it would kind of look like and like give some examples based off what what happened past season, so you get an idea of what it would look like. And let's just jump into that actually, without like just going around everything. This is what a 12-team playoff would have looked like this year, or technically last year. I don't know. Last season, the season we were just most currently in. You would have had Michigan number 1 with Washington, Texas, and Alabama all getting first-round byes. They get first-round byes since 12 would lead to an uneven playoff setting at one point. The only way to keep it even is if you give the first 4 seeds a bye. And that is something to play for, too. Then you have Florida State at number 5, Georgia at 6, Ohio State at 7, Oregon at 8, Missouri at 9, Penn State at 10, Ole Miss at 11, Liberty at 12. Makes you think a little bit. So here would be the specific matchups you would get. The Florida State versus Liberty, whoever would win that would play at Alabama. Oregon versus Missouri, where the winner of that would play at Michigan. Georgia versus Ole Miss, winner of that would play against Texas, and then Ohio State versus Penn State would play against Washington. That's one of those, like when you get down to like the Penn States and the Ole Misses, this one would be really interesting to see, because 2 teams that were left out were LSU and Oklahoma. Do you think LSU would beat Penn State? I personally think they would. I think Oklahoma would give Penn State a really good run for their money too. But I would feel confident saying LSU would win. They have the Heisman winner. They have the best offense in the country. What's Penn State struggling? Offense. So it's not like you're going to have to outscore LSU. Only one team has truly done that in my opinion. That was Ole Miss. Ole Miss truly just went back and forth. Bama got stops at some point, and Florida State shut down LSU's offense completely in the second half. So it wasn't like tit for tat type of thing. Or tick for tack, not tit for tack. That's a little bit different. But that's kind of how it looked like this year. And now we have I think each conference has like their main team, has like the main team that's like, you know what, that's probably going to be the winner. SEC, Georgia, probably the main team. ACC, Florida State. Big Ten, it's Ohio State. Then you have the Big 12, which will be really interesting to see how that plays out. If I had to guess a winner, Kansas State looks like they've always been pretty good, but Big 12 would be a whole other discussion we got to have at one point, because their situation is crazy. Because I had a feeling that Arizona was going to go in and just run over everyone with Jedd Fisch at head coach and have Noah Fafita at quarterback and just run through everyone. But now Jedd Fisch has left for Washington. So I don't know what to do about Arizona, because Arizona looked really, really good, and they beat Oklahoma up, and they forced 6 turnovers on them. So it's kind of like, yeah, that shows something. But the Big 12 would be a while to figure out. Then probably the AAC would be the other thing, like the Tulane, like SMU's, that group of teams. They would probably fill up that bracket, fill up that slot. I don't know exactly, but if we look at these matchups right here, like Liberty versus Florida State would just wipe the floor with them. Missouri versus Oregon would be the best matchup probably out of all of them. That would be absurd. Usually, probably the 9 versus 8 matchups will be the best ones for obvious reasons. They're the closest in seed. But Missouri versus Oregon would be a showdown for the century. I'd probably have Missouri in that one, but it'd be very close. Georgia versus Ole Miss. We already saw what happened. Georgia would have beaten by like 40. They would probably do it again. And then Ohio State versus Penn State, which would probably just be a very close game until the third quarter when someone actually scores a touchdown and probably quintuples a lead that was already attained throughout the game. And yeah, so it's interesting to see. It's interesting, but also brings a lot of. It's interesting because it brings a lot of questions. It's just like about some of these fringe teams, about these teams that are like, you know what, they might not, they probably won't win the conference, but what if they actually just like go 10-2? But their 2 losses are against 2 top 5 teams, stuff like that, or 2 teams that are in their conference championship. What's a good example? Let's give a team. Let me think of a team that's just like perennial, could make it, might not type of thing. Let's go with LSU, hypothetically. Let's just use LSU since I already mentioned them earlier. Garrett Nussmeier and LSU, let's say they lose to Alabama. They lose in a close one, and then they lose to another team. Like, let's say Ole Miss is really good this year. I think they might have to play Ole Miss. Let's say that. Let's say if they lose to them. What do you do now? What do you do then? You have a 10-2 team that's really good against 2 teams that were in the top 3 probably in their conference. But then you have like this 10-2 team from like the Big Ten, like Iowa, that has just been playing dominant defense, phenomenal everything. Or let's say an 11-1 Iowa team. Somehow they could be 11-1. They went 10-2 this year without an offense. If they find a quarterback, they'll be something. And they found a running quarterback in the game against Tennessee, so they might have found something there. But let's say Iowa somehow goes like 11-1, or like an Arizona goes 11-1, but they don't win their conference, but they get really close to. Would you rather prefer an LSU team that's 10-2, or prefer a team that had really, really good teams that they lost to, or a team that maybe got beat by a bad team and then lost a conference title game, but made it to it and has one more win? Those are the debates you're going to have, and that's going to be throughout a lot of conferences you're going to have those debates on. And it would suck if you have 2 conferences that are not like very highly rated, like let's say an AAC and then the MAC, both have an undefeated champion. What do you do then? I don't know. But then you have a lot of teams, like I'll give an example, Tennessee. They could go 9-3, but their schedule, they have a lot of if they beat a team like Alabama, they beat a Georgia somehow, and they're a top, like, and that team goes on to win the conference championship. What do you do then? It's like, well, they just beat the best team probably in the country. On paper, they beat them, but we're going to keep them out, even though they have a record that is just only one less win away from this one. But the resume is not as good for that team. It's going to be a lot of debates, a lot of upset fan bases with this. But also think about the 12-team playoff. You're going to ruffle some feathers. You're going to get the people mad. But at the end of the day, you're going to get a lot of good football. It'll be a lot of fun. And it's worth a try. It's definitely worth a try. I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. There's a lot of teams a chance on a perennial that you don't have to win your conference championship, or you don't have to be the team that's just, like, you don't barely have to lose it, or whatever you want to say. Or you can be like Florida State and be like, you know what? We're 13-0, won a conference championship. You ain't like we're not even going to give you a chance to win it. Which are probably looking back on it was the right decision, but yeah, that's how everything is here. We're gonna figure out more information throughout just the year with this, and we'll see how this plays out throughout the regular season and everything else. A lot of these games will be very important for these later on seedings, and I think it makes that makes these games more important than anything else, because you'll be fighting for a playoff spot throughout the entire season. It's not like you might lose to a bad team in week 2, and then you're just on that pressure for the rest of the year. And if you lose another game, it's over. So we got a chance throughout the entire season probably to make, unless you get like 4 losses, then just know. And yeah, put on the comments your own opinions, and yeah, hope you have a great day. Stay safe, all, and God bless y'all.